Welcome back. You're still watching On the Money. When we talk about our financial goals, the dream is to always have better finances so we can live the life we want. And there are plenty of tips from the internet to personal finance books, each giving its own point of view. So today, we're giving you another perspective on achieving your financial goals with just 9 steps with our guest, Sha Nacino. She's the author of Money and Me, 9 Steps to Turn Around Your Finances and Live the Life You Want. Welcome to the show, Sha.
Hi, I'm happy to be here, Edric.
Yeah, so 9 steps, huh?
Yes.
Well, why don't you open us up and tell me, this book that you wrote, what is the inspiration?
Okay, I wrote the book because I was once buried in credit card debts. I knew how it felt to be so stressed out, thinking where to get money to pay my amortization or credit card debts. I started reading books because of that. I started attending seminars, and I applied the lessons I learned. I realized that the lessons I learned were never taught in school. So I wanted to share this information to as many yappies as possible. That's
like
the reason why I wrote the book.
So how long did this whole process take when you finally realized I can't be in this until the point that you recovered?
It took me about 3 years to zero out the debts.
Wow. And since that point, no problem since, I assume?
This is a continuing education, so I guess I just had to make my goals to define another goal, to define another, because before my goal was to zero out the debts, and then next was to save and invest, and then next was to reach a point wherein I could quit my job and pursue my passions full time.
And how many years soon after did you actually write the book, after the experience?
I wrote the book in October of last year. So I was buried in credit card debts 2005. I was able to zero it out 2008.
3 years later. Let's talk about the book then.
Okay.
So 9 steps. Why don't you take us through it? I understand there are 3 parts.
Of course, you have to plan first, and then the next part is the doing, and then the next part is the being.
Okay.
For the planning, number 1 is to define your financial goals. To define what financial success means to you, because financial success is very relative. Some people may define financial success as living in a big, beautiful house. To other people, it's having the freedom of time to do what they love to do. So you have to be clear what you really want. Number 2 is to define your big why. Why do you want to succeed in your finances? Why do you want to live in that big, beautiful house? So if you notice, the first step is about the head part. It's the logical part. And then the second step involves the heart. Because according to studies, we really decide based on our emotions. And then we just rationalize our decisions. So it's very important to know the reason why you want to succeed in your finances.
Okay.
So that's the planning part.
And then the next part you said?
The next part is the doing. So what are the habits that you need to employ to really take charge over your finances? First is to live within your means. One of the reasons why I got buried in credit card debts was because if this was my salary, my expenses was this much. And to bridge the gap, I used my credit card debts. And a lot of yappies do that as well.
So
it's very important. Yes, it's very important to live within your means, because really it's not how much you earn, but how much you keep or how much you save or invest. I just follow a very simple formula. So you live on 70%, and then 20% you save or invest, and then 10% you give to the Lord, you tithe.
What other principle?
The next is to accumulate assets and eliminate liabilities. A lot of yappies have the notion that a car is an asset, a house is an asset, an iPhone is an asset. But in reality, according to Robert Kiyosaki, an asset is anything that puts money into your pocket, and a liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. The iPhone, the car may not really be assets. They could be liabilities.
What about the house?
The house, it depends on how big the house is. Let's say if you just need a 5-bedroom, if you just need a two-bedroom house and you have a 5-bedroom house, then it could be a liability. Okay, the next is to zero out credit card debts. If you notice, the interest rate for credit card is about 3.5%. The credit card companies would tell, just pay the minimum amount per month, yes. Just pay the minimum amount so you won't have a hard time paying your debts, right? And then there's so many promos like a 0% installment, easy to pay. But it's not really easy to pay. And even if you're saving at the rate of 3% a month, if you're draining money at the rate of 42% a month because of credit card debts, it could really shatter your finances.
After zeroing out credit card debts?
Next would be to save and invest. You save first. Usually you would save for your emergency funds. And then invest. My favorite is to invest in the stock market. I first learned about it from the book of Bo Sanchez, My Maid Invest in the Stock Market. And when I read the book, I said, if his maid can do it, I can do it as well. I had 2 options. I said I wanted to learn from Bo Sanchez himself. So first option would be maybe I should apply as a maid of both. Second was
After paying out all your debts, right?
Yes. Second would be to get him as my mentor. So I chose the second. So anyway, I started
Or both.
investing.
But you chose the second, okay.
Yeah, I
You
chose
made
the
him
second.
mentor. Okay.
I started investing in the stock market sometime in 2010. Then I forgot all about it. 2011, my friends invited me to go to Europe for a tour, World Youth Day in Madrid, Spain. And then I computed the money I saved in the bank. It was less than the amount we needed for the trip. And then I remembered, I invested in the stock market. So I checked my portfolio, and I was surprised it grew by 20% in 1 year. So
Yeah.
I sold my stocks, and I used part of it to fund my European pilgrimage.
Wonderful. You cashed it out and you did that. That is now saving and investing. And you
Yes.
prefer stocks is what you're saying now.
Yes.
Okay, next.
I also invest in real estate, but it's less liquid. So I prefer the stock market.
Okay.
The next would be to increase your earning ability. It was Brian Tracy who said that your greatest asset is your earning ability. So it's not the money you have in the bank, it's not the stocks portfolio that you have, it's not even the assets that you have. Because knock on wood, what if the stock market crashes? What will happen to your investments? Let's say you're being employed in a good company. What if they will retrench employees? What will happen to you? So earning ability is your ability to give value and get paid in return. Because money is just a symbol of value. And the more value you give, the more value you get in terms of money. Yeah.
Covered 7. What's next?
Okay, so the third part would be the being. It's like the principles you live by. Next is to invest in your financial education. This is a continuing education. The learning never stops. So you have to keep reading books, you have to keep attending seminars or seeking mentors, advice from mentors. And lastly, which is very important, is to understand the real purpose of money. Money, you get rich not because of money, but because maybe you want to get rich because you will bless your family, you will bless the people around you as well. Because money, the purpose of money is to be generous to other people. It's not for you to keep. You're just a steward of money.
Now, this last point, how does that relate to the know your big why?
Yes, know your big why. So for example, why do you want to succeed in your finances? Let's say, in my case, I wanted to provide for my family as well. So I love my family. So it's not just for me. It's also for my family. Another thing is, I want to help out the many ministries of, for example, Bo Sanchez or any other ministries. And I cannot do it if I'm just earning enough. So my big why is, I want to earn as much as I can so I can give as much as I can.
Mindset, habits, and purpose.
Yes.
Those would be the top. Okay, fantastic. Let's go to questions from our viewers now. The first question is from Joyce. Is your book also suitable for kids? I've been wanting to teach my 8-year-old and 14-year-old daughters about personal finance so they will be more responsible with money. Can you also give some tips on how I can do that?
I think the message of the book is applicable to everyone, to the young ones and to the young ones. So even to the kids, you could already teach them about money. Maybe you could teach them how to save. If you give them allowance, you could help them have the discipline of saving as early as now, so that when they finally earn their own money, they could already do it with their own finances.
Would there be a difference in what an 8-year-old and a 14-year-old learns?
The goals of an 8-year-old and 14-year-old would be different. For example, 8-year-old, toys. 14-year-old, perhaps...
Bigger toys.
Bigger. Okay, bigger toys. Or maybe if he's courting a girl or something. The financial goals are different, but the steps could be applicable to everyone.
And some investments, right?
Some
I think maybe the
investments.
parents would need to get involved in that because below 18, they can't really have access to these markets yet.
Right.
Is that correct?
Although, even if you're below 18, you could already invest in the stock market with the guidance of the parents.
But in trust for, no?
In
You
trust
need an
for,
ITF,
yes.
yeah, exactly. This question is from Nikoy. What tips can you give so we can stay disciplined when handling our money?
Always remember your financial goals and your big why you want to succeed in your finances. In my case, before I was employed, I loved everything about the company, the bosses, the company, the culture, but I didn't like my work. And every day I would drag myself to work. And there were so many occasions wherein I was tempted to spend because I wanted to entertain myself because I was so
Retail
bored
therapy.
and sick and tired of my job. But I had to remember my big why. I wanted to reach a point wherein I'll have enough money so I could quit my job and pursue my real passion. So I had to let go of the seemingly the temporary entertainment so I could reach my big goal. So in the same way, for our guest.
Nikoy, yes.
For Nikoy, yes. So you should remember your big why and maybe put it somewhere where you could see it.
That's a good tip.
Every day, or you could remind yourself about your big reason. If you're addicted to swiping the card, because it's so easy to swipe the card, right? What you can do is to cut the card that you don't need. So that's what I did. I had 2 cards. I cut the other card, and then the other card I just left it at home. So I won't be tempted to use it.
That's a good suggestion.
Second is to put money in my wallet that I can spend for the day. Because for some reasons, whatever amount I put in my wallet in the morning, by the end of the night, end of the day, it's 0. so I just
that sounds like many people's experiences, I think.
Yes, I just put the amount of money I'm willing to spend or I'm willing to lose for the day.
At least it's more controlled. Excellent. This is from Alfonso. You also do seminars about these 9 steps when you have already reached your financial goals. Do you stop or should you build more goals?
I have seminars. In fact, the last seminar I conducted was last June with Mr. Edward Lee of Call Financial and Dr. Larry Gamboa. So we had a seminar. I regularly do these seminars maybe once a quarter. If you want to know more about the seminars, just go to seminarphilippines.com. That is my blog, and that's where I announce my upcoming seminars.
And the second part, when you already have reached your financial goals, do you stop or should you build more goals?
I think you should build more goals. By nature, our needs are insatiable. When you reach one goal, you'd want to reach another goal, right? So just keep building more goals. Your goal has to be bigger than yourself.
Thank you so much, Sha. Any closing advice as far as your readers and your message in the book?
Yes, so I'm just very happy to be here in ANC and the Money. Thank you for having me. Number 1 is to just keep growing, just keep investing in your financial education because it's really important. Financial education is very important. Just keep reading books, just keep attending seminars and seeking for the advice from mentors. Keep learning and growing, keep investing in your greatest asset, which is yourself.
Wonderful. Thanks again, Sha.
Welcome.
All right, that's our show today. I'm Edric Mendoza.